Kathy from the White Pigeon Library with a book report on the book The Wind Knows My Name by Isabel Allende. And one of my favorite authors. When she first started writing, she wrote House of the Spirits and several books that were just magical and some of the best books I've ever written. However, she lost her daughter to just a horrible illness, and it seems to have taken a lot out of her. This is an interesting book. It talks about interesting things. I don't think it's particularly well written, but the story's good. First, it talks about a young boy who was a passenger on the Kinder transport out of Austria to London during World War II in order to escape from the Nazis. So his mother had to make a decision, an overnight decision, to send her son to another country by himself, not really having the slightest idea what he was going to be going to. And that's what all parents had to decide on those Kinder transport trains. He ended up in London and had some pretty ugly experiences with foster homes and finally landed with a loving family. And then she talks about a young girl and her father in Nicaragua that went to the city for medical treatment, came back, and their whole entire village had been slaughtered. Everybody was dead, and that was happening for a while. And the United States was involved in that a little bit. Not just a little bit, but they were supporting bad people, bad leaders, in the name of eradicating communism and various political interests. But she and her father then managed to get into the United States, and it talks about her story. And they ended up in California. Then they talk about another young woman who needs to escape El Salvador, and because her life's in danger, and she needs to take her young daughter with her. And her young daughter is almost blind, but they have a horrendous trip to the border, and then they're separated. It was in 2020, and so the daughter was taken away from the mother. A lawyer becomes interested in her case, and the little girl finally ends up with the man who was on the Kinder transport train in California, and he fosters her. But the mother, they were never reunited. The mother ended up being killed by the man she was trying to escape. And so it's a lot of interesting stories. She talks a lot about the immigration policies that separated families, which is pretty horrendous. And she gives you some information about the Kinder transport during World War II. That was fascinating. And about the trip that people have to take sometimes out of desperation through Mexico and through Central America. And it's hard riding on the tops of trains and walking long distances, and you would really only do it if you were incredibly desperate, particularly if you knew that your children were going to be taken from you, or probably going to be taken from you. You have to be pretty desperate to do that. So the story was interesting. I didn't think it was all that well written, but still enjoyed it, and I finished it. So, Isabel Allende, The Wind Knows My Name.